do this.
What if your CAD worked like Alexa, but instead of turning on the lights, it dispatched a fire truck? Voice-controlled navigation may be on its way into PSAPs, and it could mean fewer clicks, less stress, and maybe, just maybe, a dispatcher who doesn't feel like they're in a wrestling match with their mouse. And that's coming up next on TiPS, Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm a NENA-certified ENP, and 3 times each week I bring you the latest, most informative, and sometimes controversial takes on emergency communications. Today we're going to take a deep dive into voice-controlled CAD and application navigation. And we'll ask the question, can dispatchers really just talk their way through a shift? Let's face it, today's PSAP desktops look like NASA. Multiple monitors, a dozen apps, a mouse or more, that's all been clicked more times than a TikTok refresh button. All backed up by a dispatcher trying to juggle it all while a panicked caller screams in their ear. Enter voice-controlled applications. Imagine just saying, open a new incident, patch fire and EMS to channel 3. Or my personal favorite, for the love of all that is holy, stop popping up random error windows. Now, we're not quite at Star Trek levels of computer-launched photon torpedoes. But the idea is the same. Your voice becomes the keyboard. The upsides. The first is speed. Instead of clicking through 12 drop-down menus, you say it and it happens. Multitasking. Your hands keep typing the call narrative while your voice assigns units. Accessibility. Maybe this opens the door for call takers who may have mobility challenges. But what are the challenges? Of course, this isn't just magic. PSAPs are noisy, radios are blaring. Coworkers are chatting about last night's ball game. Any voice system has to filter all of that out and still understand when you say open fire call instead of close fire call. One of those is helpful, while the other one is career limiting. And training matters too. Dispatchers need to trust the system, but also need to know how to override it when things go rogue. And then there's the all-important question, where is all that voice data being stored? And does it need to be CJIS compliant? The human factor. The real win here isn't just technology for technology's sake. It's wellness. Less mousing means fewer repetitive strain injuries. Voice control reduces cognitive load and frees your brain to focus on the human in crisis instead of the software in chaos. It's also about trust. Think about when GPS first came out. People still printed MapQuest directions, just in case. Now you wouldn't think twice about letting your phone tell you where to turn. CAD voice navigation will have this same curve. Future possibilities. When you think about it, this is just the start. If you pair voice commands with AI, and maybe you'll start to get summarization of the caller's last statement into the CAD narrative, real-time language translation for non-English calls, and maybe even AR glasses that overlay the incident data when you say, show me units on scene. Now, of course, some are going to resist. Dispatchers trust their fingers more than their voices. Budget folks are going to ask if it's a luxury or a necessity. And unions, well, they may side-eye it if they think that it's just another way to squeeze more productivity out of the worker. But let's be real. Voice navigation isn't here to replace dispatchers. It's here to give them one more tool. Just like CAD replaced handwritten logs, this is evolution, not revolution. And at the end of the day, the real mission stays the same. Keep dispatchers focused on the person who needs help, not the keyboard shortcuts. That wraps up today's episode of TiPS, Today in Public Safety. Thanks so much for listening. Hope you learned something new. I know that I did. For more updates and insights, remember to follow me on most social media platforms at Fletch911. And you can visit 911tips.com for a complete archive of all of our previous episodes. Stay safe. Thanks so much for listening. And if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every single day. I'll see you next time. Take care.
You've been listening to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on 911tips.com. That's 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG 911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10 spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret it for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good.